Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. Just sitting here with my good man and fellow coach, Wade Sutton. How you feeling, Coach Sutton?
It's great to be here.
Awesome, man. So we were just talking about before we cut the mic on and start recording. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. If you listen to the podcast, welcome to the Money Markets and Mindset podcast, soon to be rebranded as the 5 Year Millionaire podcast. And we came off our live event and we had such a great experience teaching people live. And what we realized about the stock market and investing as we get ready to launch one of our new programs called Next Level is that, there's an abundance of information out here in the world with respect to the
Yeah.
stock market. And we have a passion for helping people, especially helping people avoid what we've been through, which is, losing money. In my case, moving back home with my mother back in the day, having to sell all my stuff. And part of helping people is helping them also realize that trading in the stock market, part of it is a technical skill. Read charts, press the button, press buy, press sell. But then there's another aspect to this game that is mental, that is emotional, that is fear and greed you can't really see because you're seeing all the money you can make or you're seeing all the money you could lose.
Yeah.
And there's this aspect where you need this outside support, whether that's a community, whether that's a coach to say, hey, did you see that? Did you realize earnings was coming up? Hey, did you see it looks like you said it's in a downtrend? I see the stock building support. And I don't think a lot of people give enough credence to getting support, which is interesting though. I'd love to hear your thoughts because well, think about it. If your marriage was in trouble,
Yep.
you'd go get a marriage counselor, right? Matter of fact, before you get married, they're like, you should get premarital counseling or premarital support.
Yeah.
Um, Before you go into a job, your school is like, you should do an intern. You should see if you can work there. Can you shadow? All right. And so there's all these other aspects in life where we get support, coaching, training, mentorship. You want to lose weight, you hire a personal trainer, you hire someone who can meal plan with you. But for some reason, when we come to the stock market, we kind of have this attitude of, I got this, I can do it on my own. Let me lose some money first, then I'll see if I need some support. And so what are your thoughts around that? Because we're trying to eradicate that, but you can
Yeah.
only eradicate and help someone who even realizes that they need help.
Yeah. Well, experience is a great way to learn something. The challenge with it is it can take a lot of time and it can cost a lot of money. Trial and error and the school of hard knocks. That's a way to learn something.
That
Uh,
is.
and but a wise person can learn from other people's mistakes. And just this week, I was in the forum answering some responses to some traders that were in some losing, had seen some opportunities and just didn't pull the trigger. They saw the train coming into the station, but they weren't tuned up. If anybody's been into, a busy city like Manhattan and the subway's coming through, and that's not the time you start looking at a map or looking at the queue line and looking at these colors because it's going to come and New Yorkers, man, you better know
You gotta
that
be
is
ready
your
to get
train. You got
on.
to get moving. So if you're hesitating, that train is going to go through the station. And so what I mean by that is if you are tuned up in your technical skills, as you were talking about the buy, the technical analysis, the fundamentals, are you tuned up? The next one, are you tuned up in your plan? Are you going directional? Are you doing a credit spread? Are how long are you planning to be this? Is this a day trade, a trend trade, an investment? Are you tuned up with your investment objective? And then the third one is, are you tuned up emotionally? Like you know that the market, it'll go up, sideways, or down. Congratulations, you were right. It's going to do one of those three. But are you tuned up emotionally to take a win and let it keep going as the trend stays in? Are you tuned up emotionally to where if it moves in the opposite direction that you're able to take that hit and not be wrecked emotionally? So when it comes to the information, like you can read a bus schedule, you can know where it's going to go, but sometimes it's intimidating and you need somebody there to check and balance it. And the response from this member of our community was like, she wrote back and she was like, you read my mind. And my response was pretty short. It was like, I didn't read your mind. I'm working on that myself. And I've taught hundreds of people that have gone through this phase, that are, that demon is still raising its head. Like that's the advantage, because this member might have felt like they were alone. Like, am I the only one that has this FOMO? Like, I saw the trade, I knew, but I didn't, and it went through. And, is there another? And I'm like, there's another train coming through the station. Like, don't chase it. There'll be another one, but you need to be tuned up so you can step onto that train car. And I think that response back let them know that they weren't alone, that they weren't weak, that they didn't make a mistake, that was the process. And I was flattered that she thought I read her mind. Like, oh man, I've been there.
Yeah, and the reality is we're not reading anybody's mind. It's like this is what you're going to go through as a trader. Can you imagine if you sat down with like LeBron James and a new basketball recruit from college just got into the NBA, and LeBron said, you're probably going to want to get a strength and conditioning coach. You're going to want to get someone to kind of go over your meal planning with you. And can you imagine the kid saying, how'd you know? You read my mind. It's like, no. I didn't read your mind. Like, that's what it takes to be successful in this industry. And so I can say that to the next 100 players that come in, and it's going to be spot on what they thought they needed to hear. And so same thing with the stock market is either we're saying the same thing or it feels like we're genies in the bottle reading people's minds with a magic globe, is because we know this industry and we know what it takes to succeed. And if you take the stock market out of it, I know very few people who have succeeded in life without a coach and without a mentor. If you interview some of the most successful people, it's very few that's like, I didn't have no help, no mentorship, no guidance, no direction. I just wanted to do this and I plowed forward. Like, very rarely. I don't know anyone that I could point to and be like, him, that person, her. But typically they're like, there was this one teacher in high school. There was this one college professor who made a phone call to the actors board and got me that part in the play, and now I'm Denzel Washington. Or like, it was always like some coach, some mentor. And so when we thought about opening up what's called Next Level, we have, our elite mastermind, which is top of the top, where we work through scans, software, finding trades, customized game plans, just a high level of trading and customization. We looked at all of our offerings and said, like, a lot of people can't afford that level. That's just the reality of it. They can't afford a $20,000 mastermind. Now, I do want to say this too. Sometimes people hear this and be like, what? They have a $20,000 high level mastermind called Elite. It's $20,000 a year. And the answer is yes. I joined a mastermind myself, but this is why I'm saying this is so important, that people understand why it feels like we're reading their minds, because we sat in those seats. So when I was evaluating a mastermind to join, it was $30,000. I was like, what? It's $30,000 a year to be in that mastermind? And so I went through like, oh my God, what? That's a lot of money. What do I get for that? But then I started to ask myself, I asked myself a couple questions. I said, well, wait a minute. What type of other people are in there that I'm going to meet? What other people am I going to be around that are willing to spend $30,000 to invest in themselves to become better? And that's a mindset shift, because the world will say, you don't need to pay that much. You can find it on YouTube. But then the elite says yes. But what you don't get from being on YouTube is the networking with those other people in those rooms, being intimate with someone who's made 7 or multiple 7 figures. And so that's what came out of that. And I started to ask myself, what type of person do I want to be? Do I want to be a type of person that says that's too expensive? Or do I want to be the type of person that says, I cut the check? I'm in the room with those people. I'm in the room with the people that make that kind of money, that think big. And I hope, my goal is that it elevates my thinking and my game plan. And so I understand when someone goes, what? How much? Because I was in that same position, but I cut the check anyway. But there was magic in cutting the check. I was like, wow, I made a commitment to myself. I made a commitment to this industry. I made a commitment to get better. And when we look at our elite, any other programs, we say, does everybody have $20,000? Does everybody have 30,000 like the program that I joined? And the answer is no. And so we started to say, well, what's their next steps? What is the next level for people? And what we came up with and believe is that most people have some type of foundation. They know how to read the charts, they know how to buy and sell, but there's still something that's stopping them from getting in at the best time, getting out at the best time, taking profit. There's still something, maybe they lost money before. There's still something that in the back of their head is saying, you've lost money before. I don't know if you can really do this. I don't know if you're good enough for this. If you lose money again, you're going to have to explain that to your wife, to your husband, to your significant other, right? There's something that's still in their ear saying, yes, you see the chart. Yes, this is the best strategy, but why can't you still pull the trigger and do it? Or the reverse. You got in, you saw the chart, you're up 10,000, but you gave the 10,000 back because there's something about you that keeps making the same mistakes. And that's what next level is about. Next level is about, you keep using that word, a tune up. Next
Yeah.
level is about taking what you already know and then let's tune it up and get you to the next level. And the next level is different for everybody. The next level might be you stop giving the profits back. I make 5,000, then I lose 5,000. I make 5,000, then I lose 5,000. The next level for that person is like, let us come in and coach you on how you can see. We see a blind spot that you don't see because it's not our money and we're not in the trade that you're in. And so we have a unbiased perspective where we can help you and say, this is why you keep giving the money back. Or perhaps you keep buying at the wrong time because you get fear of missing out because the market's rallying. As soon as you get in, as the day it turns around, it's like, let us help you get to the next level and overcome that. Because really, the level that I think we all aspire to is a level of being consistent with our trading. And we really want to look up 6 months from now and say, if I'm putting my time into the stock market thing, if I'm investing, I want to see some growth, not just I feel like I'm a better person, but most of us want to see some financial growth. And that's what getting to next level is about. What are your thoughts about that from what people need, being on the outside, seeing them, and then just helping them really break through that. I'll say this before I turn it over to you too. The
Yeah.
definition of insanity, we've all heard it before. It's like doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And so what's going to be different from people's trading this year if they keep doing the same thing over again? And what's the same thing? Feeling like they can do it on their own, feeling like they can watch a YouTube video and they got it all figured out. That's and blowing up their account, working hard, getting their tax return, trying again. They're doing the same thing over and over again. Let's bring in the X factor, which is what? Some coaching, some mentorship, an unbiased third party that can say, look, I think you should consider taking profit there. Have you looked at this trade and thought about that before you place that order? Don't be insane and keep doing the same thing over and over again. What are your thoughts?
I really appreciate what you shared there, because if you've seen further, it's because you've stood on the shoulders of giants, right? If it's been done once, it can be done twice. And if I can learn from that process, think of the opportunity cost to get there sooner without the same mistakes. And that brings me to the point of, each time you hear elements, you are different. Things that went over your head last time because you hadn't experienced it didn't mean anything to you. I was in the community. I went live Tuesday morning, and I was doing some interday charting for the forum. And somebody wrote in and they were like, "Oh my goodness, you're on 2-day, 3-minute candles, that really changed it, because now I can see yesterday's intraday high, and that's why I was being stuck and I didn't know why it was going down at this point. And then when I tuned it to 2 days, 3-minute candles, like that little comment was in the moment. Whether that was recorded in another module, but being there live, seeing it happen, a simple comment, and it was like, that's what I needed. That unlocked it. And so even though elements of the market are simple, the application and the mental side of it can complicate it, and being ready to make that happen. So in that process, I really like being teachable and not thinking that everybody knows it. Like, some people are, oh, this is so elementary, like support and resistance. And you're like, well, drawing those
So is
lines
shooting free throws and doing layups. But that's what wins the game. It's not the behind the back pass through the legs tomahawk dunk. Usually when teams lose, they miss 2 free throws. They miss 3 layups. Just basic skills.
I love that analogy, because we all laugh and go, oh, of course they still do free throws. But dude, like, they have been doing that shot since they were knee high to a grasshopper. These pro players, they just do it better than most. And so when I think about other elements of our life, it's like I could, do a Rocky training montage. I could go outside and get my heart rate up and run through the snow. I could do a Jane Fonda workout tape, or I can, get some coaching where my form, like, hey, you're going to blow your back out. You keep squatting like that. But you don't know it. And so to your point, the insanity, like, you think you're getting experience, but you're just making you don't know why you're making the mistake.
You don't know why.
And so
You
you're
don't
like,
know
well,
why you keep making it.
because you can't see it, just because you need somebody to point out. Like, I keep a trading journal. I was looking at my stuff today, and it was, doing my iron condors. That's something we were teaching in Elite. So I'm going through and fine tuning my iron condor work. And one of the things I was looking at is like, do I need to have those equal distance apart? The market moves down faster than it goes up. So maybe I should give more room to my put side of the trade.
Mm.
And that's just something, even all these years of trading, like, but putting it in writing and then tracking it and analyzing it. So it's like, maybe I could get a higher rate of return, just squeeze an extra 3 to 5% just by getting a better strike price. Like, the mechanics of, selling and buying, the vertical spread, like, that's simple. But what could I do to fine tune it? Like, could I go shopping for dollar strikes and manipulate those instead of going right to $5 and $10 strikes? So from a coaching perspective, it's bouncing ideas like that. Like, somebody else in the room is like, oh, yeah, I could go trade a less expensive stock with high volume and dollar strike prices and do credit spreads, but I don't have to do the next one the next dollar strike. I could now do $2 and $3 and really fine tune this. Hey, that's just a tweak that only comes when you're in the moment, when you're ready to hear it.
Absolutely. And when you're in the room, right? I mean, if you're not in the room when the conversation happens, you can't be a part of it. And so, when you think about coaching, guys, and everyone listening, it's like, I think we need to be more of a culture where we're afraid not to have coaches. It should be a stigma to not have a coach. It's like, what? You plan on being a millionaire and you don't have a coach? You plan on walking? I mean, you got to think about some of the goals that people have with the stock market. I'm not talking about the people like, I just want to make extra $100. I'm talking about, when I talk to people, I'm like, what's your goal? They're like, my husband, I'm a stay-at-home wife. My husband works so hard. I'd love to relieve some financial pressure from the household. I hear guys saying, I'd love to retire my wife, bring her home, right? I hear people saying, I'd love to pay for my kids' college tuition in cash. I'd love to get out of debt. I'd love to become a millionaire, get the dream home. And it's like, those are some big goals. And then you say, but I don't need a coach. I don't need any help getting there. And it's like, I can't imagine having goals that big and not having a coach to get there. Because I remember, I wish I remember this lady's name. I probably could check my email. I booked a call with her just to learn about her coaching program. It wasn't for the stock market. It was like for personal development and business and stuff like that. And I never forget this, what she said to me on the call. And I said, I kind of came in cocky. I was like, well, I'm doing good. I'm already here. I'm on my way to being there. Because I didn't really want to take the mask off and be like, I'm hurting. I can't figure it out. I'm not sure why I can't get across the finish line. Like, I didn't say that. I was like, I'm close. Give it some more time. I'm going to figure it out. And I never forget, man. She just stopped and said, great. Then why are you on the call with me? And why aren't you already there? And like, she wasn't trying to disrespect me. She was just like, why are you wasting my time on the call? If you got it all figured out. Number one, why'd you book a call? And she said, number two, why aren't you already there? And man, everything, I don't know what I said to her, but what I wanted to say was, I don't have it figured out. I'm not that close. I can't figure out why I keep hitting my head up against the wall. And that was the real truth. And I think once we can get over our ego, we can put our guard down and say, I need some help. Like, I look at the stock market like it's gambling and I don't know how to get over that. Or I really don't know how to read the charts as good as I thought. Or, I'm not putting in the work. I need someone accountable to me to go through my charts, look at my trades. It's hard to say that, but that's the truth, and that's what needs to happen. And until we get to a place where we're like, I remember at church, they did a series called like Strong Man, I think, or something like that, or Strong Dads. And our pastor at the time, he had this example where he was like, men go to the gym and we're on the weight bench and we're pushing the weights. And it's like, we're about to drop the bar on our chest. And another guy comes by like, hey, you all right? You need some help? And like your inclination is like, no, I got this. No, I'm straight. I got it. And it's like, he's like, no. He's like, a guy stood over him like, no, you don't got this. Like, you're about to drop, like, and helped them lift the bar back up on the rack. And the whole thing was like about, it's okay to say you don't got this. And I can't speak for women, but men, we always like, I got this, I'm good. But it's like, you don't got this. And it's okay to say you don't got this, because it is in that what society perceives as weakness, we actually think it's a strength that you're finally being real with yourself and saying, I don't got this, I need help. And society will say, oh, he weak. Over here on the millionaire side, we're like, now the work can really begin, because now I can help you. I can't help you while you're wearing the mask and you're like, I got this and I don't need any support. And I think the other thing that's important about this too is, people are scared to spend money to invest in themselves, which that's the best investment that you can make. You want to invest in these companies, Facebook, Apple, Meta. I agree that they know how to run good businesses, but like, you should be looking at investing in yourself. And when people look to invest in themselves, one thing that hurts me the most is, and this is for all my spouses or significant others or partners out there. I never went through this with my wife, but I think this is something that needs to be talked about. What hurts me is when people want to invest in themselves and their partner is like, you ain't gonna do nothing with that, or like, I don't believe in you, or you're not taking our money to do that. And coming from where I come from, I remember when I spent that $30,000 on the mastermind, I said, you know what people do with $30,000 in my neighborhood? They go buy ounces of dope. They go buy guns. They go buy hookers, strippers, right? And so I'm saying that to say, I had to reason with myself and say, out of all the things I could be doing with this money, I am investing it in mentorship. I am investing it to become better. I am investing it in hopes to become a millionaire, to give back to my church, my community, retire my spouse, retire your husband, put your kids through college debt free. Why wouldn't a spouse or a significant other support or get behind that?
Yeah,
Versus, you know, I don't think you should do that. Versus saying, go for it, babe. If this works, we set for life. If it doesn't work, you're still going to come out of it a better person. So it's like Jay-Z said. So even in a loss of valuable lessons is learned, so it evens it up for me. All the spouses or significant others or even best friends out there, instead of saying, you invested in what? Versus saying, like, let me know how it turns out. If anybody could do it, you can. I'm glad you getting the help that you need. What were you going to say to that, Sutton?
I was just getting personal. Uh, I've worked in automotive, and we have downturns and downsizing and all of that, and so I was in one of those, and so I was getting my head tuned up, and so I was going back to some of my classic Tony Robbins tapes, and getting like, hey, no matter where you go, there you are. It's like your biggest weapon and your tool is right here between your ears. I got to get me straight so I can get confident to go back out there and figure out what my next move is. And there was a program that required an investment, and I had some money that was kind of aside, and I was embarrassed, but I really wanted it, and I kind of I wasn't that confident. I kind of hid it from my wife, and I bought it. I was like, I need to do this, but I needed to tell her where that money went, and it was kind of ask for forgiveness, not permission. But I was like, I need this, and whether she's mad or not, like, I need this to get going. And she put her arm around me, and she was like, I'm so excited that you did that. You need this right now. And like, I started crying. It was just that moment where it was like, I'm in the foxhole with somebody that believes in me, and I needed that in that moment. Because I was, as you were sharing that story, I wasn't going to share that, but as you were talking about that embarrassment or the shame of like, who am I to ask for help? And it was an investment, and it made a difference in me. And more importantly, it was when my wife was like, I'm proud of you for doing that, and I support you. And I was like, like, I then could go vulnerable back with her and tell her why I did it and why I was scared to tell her. And it just meant so much to me that I have somebody like that believes in me, that allowed me to reach my potential.
Absolutely, man. It's so powerful. And I think we need to support each other more in those ways. You know, when my wife wanted to, she just did a program recently. It was like $8,000, I think. And that's a lot of money. No matter what, how much money people think we have, like, uh, we still look at everything like, ugh, do we need to cut a check for that right here, right now? But I said I invest in these different programs for my personal development. I'm in entrepreneurs organization. I'm in EO. I'm in different things, and I was like, she needs something too. And I know she shared with me like she's so glad she doesn't have a husband that's like, you don't need that. What you doing that for? Can't you figure it out on your own? Like, oh my gosh, right? I mean, that's the last thing she needs to hear. I was like, you think it'll help you? She's like, yeah. I'm like, let's go for it. You need your community, your tribe. If you're trying to lose weight and be around moms and that whole atmosphere, I'm like, I'm not the person to help you with. I'm not a mom. I don't get it. I don't go through what y'all go through. And so I'm like, let's cut the check. Let's do it. And it was like, if we pay in full, you get a little discount. So I was like, all right, I'll put it on my credit card, and then if you want to pay me over monthly, well, however we want to do it, let's just get you in the program. The point is, it's like, I'm supportive back, and I'm sure you would be too, of your wife. But I think we've been working on our mindset for so long that we are in a place where we can support and believe in investing in ourselves, because we always want to invest in somebody else. We always want to invest in a depreciating asset like a car, all these other things. But when's the last time we actually took some money and we invested in ourselves? So here's what we want to do as we wrap up. I'm going to put our number up there on the screen. That's my direct number. Coach Sutton will have access to it as well. We kind of share the app. And if you're like, you know what, I want to hear what this next level program is about. Maybe I'm a good fit for it. Maybe I'm not. But um, let's book a no obligation 15-minute phone discovery call and let's just talk through it. What is next level about? How can you guys help me? How can working with Coach Sutton get me right with the stock market? And just text that number 313-251-2260, and then just say, hey, I'm interested in next level. Let us know what you're texting about. If you're listening to the audio version of this, again, you can text 313-251-2260. Again, 313-251-2260. If you're driving, don't crash your car. Just re-listen to the episode. Get the number. Just text us and be like, hey, I love the book. No obligation. Discovery call. Learn more about it. And I think what's important for people to know is there'll be no shame in that call. There'll be no, you got to beat your chest and tell us how great you are. It's just a real call with two real dudes, if we're both on it or either one of us, just a real call with two real dudes to say, here's how we think we can help. Let me hear about your trading style and what you're doing. And guess what? If we don't think we can help you, we're also going to say that too. Like, you just too far gone. You like gambling. You trying to do this with Bitcoin and all that. That's just not our specialty. We're going to tell you that too. All right. But if we talk to you and say, we believe we can help you, we'll share with you how next level works and if it's a great fit for you. And if so, then you just got a decision to make and we'll welcome you with open arms. And if now is not the time for you, that's okay too. But again, let's just have that phone conversation. So Wade, Coach Sutton, any final parting words before we wrap up?
No, I love it. This is my happy place. I love helping people because I've been helped so much.
Same here, man. Like, once you get to a certain level of success, people ask, like, why do you like teaching? Why do you like giving back? It's like, it's lonely at the top if you don't help nobody else get to the top. And the other thing is, I truly believe, and we'll wrap with this, I believe you don't fully understand a thing until you can teach a thing. And so when we teach it back, it also helps us because I'm like, ooh, I got to explain that different next time because I want to make sure they get it. Ooh, okay. When I explain it like this person had a breakthrough. And like, that feels good to know that you can work with the language, work with the mental skills, work with the technical skills, and help someone have a breakthrough. That is the stuff that money can't buy. Yes, we can go make some trades and make a bunch of money, but that's the stuff that money can't buy, and that's what fills our cup and fills our tank. So book a call. We'd love to hear from you, see how we can help, because we want to make 2024 better than 2023, but we can only do that if we know that there's some areas in your trading life that we need to shine a light on and help you come out of the darkness. So we'll see you on the next episode. Signing off from Coach Sutton's shirt saying what?
Never go broke.
Taking the profit. Peace.